You do them all over again, Joe.
Do it all over again?
Do them all over again.
Maybe next year.
Okay, I'm going to introduce myself to everybody. I know Lizanne told me this morning that you guys are on tight time schedules for the classes, so she wanted me to get started on time. I haven't met everybody. I know I've met a lot of you actually, but I see a couple of faces. I'm Melissa Francis, and I'm the Market Center Administrator here. I've been here about 2 weeks, so there's nothing like jumping in and making things happen for you guys. Lizanne asked me, we haven't thus far been able to collect numbers. Does everybody have numbers for the leadership boards back there? Does everyone look at me like crazy?
We're not aware of that.
Oh man. Okay, so in your lead gen, you guys should have been tracking your numbers as to how many potential listing appointments you've been calling, how many people you've been contacting, if you've gotten listing appointments for those. Anybody have those numbers? Okay, so what I'll do then is I'll go over what I guess the expectation is, and then you guys can kind of start getting them together going forward. And then if you can go backwards to some of the other sessions, it should be done every single session, but with Oresta out on vacation, I guess that hasn't been done thus far, so we're going to make sure it happens going forward, okay? So I guess some of the things that they want you, and you come up here and you can look at it, you see it's broke down by individual person, and each person has categories that they're meeting. So you want to do 10 additions to your database, 10 calls to connect, 10 note follow-ups, 10 agent open houses, and then they want to know, and if you hit those categories, then you would put a check mark saying that you hit that category, that you did 10 of those items. And then she wants to know how many number of appointments, how many number of signed agreements, number of written contract or sales, and number of closed contracts during that 1 week period. So going forward, hi, come on in.
How are you?
Good. So going forward, these are the numbers that we're going to track. So before you leave, if you can just look and make sure you note those so that you can track those going forward. Okay? If anybody has those before they leave today, you can pop them up. Okay?
So if let's say you did 8 open houses, do you want the number that you did do if it's not 10, or you just want a check mark?
I would say put the number. Because I think we should celebrate that you did, even though you may not have made 10.
And if it was 2, you didn't just celebrate that you did it.
Absolutely. So I think the number would be good, so we know how many you actually attended and celebrate that number with you. Okay? So without further ado, we're going to get into this week's session, which is price to sell. Deborah Robinson is going to be your presenter today. I know the market is still kind of running hot right now and everything is amazing, but at some point we know that the market's going to go the other way. And I think putting your listings at the right price is kind of a key important factor in making sure that your listing gets attention and that it sells, which is the objective of all of us as agents and as a brokerage. So without further ado, Deborah, I'm going to let you take it over. And you guys have a great session.
Thank you.
Hello everyone, thank you for coming out to this great session, Price to Sell, one of the big parts of really selling real estate. This is one of the most important parts, right, as we all know. Can I get a show of hands who is just got their real estate license within the last, say, 3 months? 3 months? 3 months? Great. 6 months? I know, that for sure. Last 6 months? Oh wow, okay.
We're realtors, not mathematicians.
Yeah, that's right. And a year? Within the last year?
7
Yeah.
months.
Great, awesome. So you're all fairly new in the real estate business, right? Safe to say. So this is a great learning session in regards to pricing a home to sell. It's a bit of a scary part with real estate. I think for most agents, I know when I first started 17 years ago, I was really super nervous about pricing and in terms of speaking to a seller about what their property is worth. This is one of their biggest investments ever in life, and there you are as a new agent sitting there and telling them what their house is worth, and it's hard to explain, when they think, hey, my house is worth $1 million, and you're going to tell them, well, Mr. Seller, actually it's worth only about $900,000. You feel like there's a bulldog that's going to come at you at the end of the day and say, what are you talking about? Are you crazy? And bark you out of the room. It does happen sometimes. I find that sellers can get aggressive with pricing the property. They feel their home is worth a lot more than the neighbors, although they may have parking and you don't, or something like that. So you have to really sit there and take your time, do your homework, and sit with them, and just come from an honest place with your numbers and your facts, which is the market facts that we can gather from TRED, right? So what I want to go through today is, you know, how we go about each step with pricing and what's really important. So it's a mindset that we have to get or wrap our head around when we're with agents, first of all. Who has, how do you feel? I want to get some opinion on pricing. In terms of real estate, we're all realtors, we're selling homes. How do you feel about pricing? What is it in terms of the big picture in real estate for you? And hey, I'm a realtor and I go around selling homes. Is it scary? Is it not? How do you feel about it?
It was intimidating at first, but then I sort of came to the realization that it's not really up to you. I mean, you can use as much math as you like and take as many data points as you like to come up with what you believe is the most accurate price for property, but at the end of the day, it's what somebody's willing to pay for it.
Correct.
Right?
Right.
That's what the house is really worth, or the condo is really worth.
Yeah.
So you should feel comfortable taking in relevant data when you're doing CMA and then price accordingly, and then just be honest and open with your clients that it doesn't matter what they think it's worth, it doesn't matter what you think it's worth, it's only really what matters is what somebody's willing to pay for it.
Yeah, at the end of the day. Has anyone just recently tried to come up with a CMA for a property that they're going to present to a client, or working on one, or thinking of, are you?
Yeah, well, I've done it already, and I personally think I'm saying, from what I did, I've looked at the comparative properties, and this is my parents' house that that we've listed, and basically,
Good practice.
I think, but it also, it says how much a buyer is willing to pay. That's essentially it. Figuring that out very carefully, and my father, his mindset,
Right.
he lived in the place for like 30-something years, so that's kind of his price.
Yes.
But other people don't see it that way.
Right.
They see it on what they want to do with it. So
Right.
all the past in there, that's irrelevant to them.
Yes.
So the subjective nature needs to be removed.
Yes, that's right. I agree. Anyone else working on pricing a property that they want to share how they're feeling about that? Or?
I think pricing determines by comparable in the market, but if you do the pricing at the right price, then there's more chances the property will sell sooner. Else,
Yeah.
if seller wants more and the market doesn't adjust with the price that they're looking for, then the property will be in market for long term, which may negatively affect
Yes.
his chances
Yes.
of selling.
Yeah. Exactly. Very true. So it is super important. All those points are so true. The market is very different from when I got into real estate right now, and we're still in a very hot market. I remember when I started, so many people were saying, "Oh, it's going to crash. We're in a peak. It's it's going to go down." It never went down. The only thing happened, I swear, since I've been in the market was the stress test that happened, 2017. And still, we're now back up after this whole thing has adjusted itself in the market. We're still very strong. Toronto's a great place to live. You know, the GTA, people are moving from the United States like crazy. Our market's strong, and we have things in place that, with the government, it's a great market. People want to move to Canada. Having said that, the pricing, yes, super important, because the changes are, with me back in the day, you could really compare properties as a number figure more easily. You'll pull it up on MLS and have an exact comparable. Today I find a challenge is it's hard to find an exact comparable, first of all. Secondly, you get purchasers out there that are working from an emotional level. So they will purchase a property way above the price of what it's worth. As we all know, the market determines the price. It really does, in a way. Like, how do you compare something when someone, a purchaser comes in and buys a house for $2,000 over asking? It blows your price points right out of perspective. The best way I've found to combat this is to, first of all, pull up your comps. And when I do a listing presentation, I have my listing press in bound in one package. Then I do my comparative market analysis in another, which is bound also. Very, inexpensively bound. Just to keep that separate and apart from my listing, because it's super important and it's something we really need to discuss in detail. I pull up not only properties that are very, very similar, but price homes that are sitting on the market that have sold conditional, ones that are expired, properties currently on the market, and ones that have terminated. Okay, because the terminated properties can tell you a lot also. You may see terminated, it's been on the market for like 9 months. And it says something right there. It's like, okay, that speaks to me like, oh, maybe your price was too high, or you were testing the market, or the properties is not superior or inefficient to other properties out there. So, but it does say a lot. So you want to pull all the data you can from the MLS system when you're comparing homes. I have a listing right now, actually, just speaking of that, I had a little bit of a difficult time. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, just a quick question about that. So with respect to the expires and terminated, how far back would you pull? Like a year, 2 years?
I don't go back further than a year. In this market, it's just too hot to go back further than a year. 2017 is actually, there's no point. 2017 is different.
Within 1 year, whatever's happened, that's where you start from.
Exactly. And I have done even within 6 months. Now remember, you have the ability to show your clients what you want to present to them and what you don't, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Not to say that you don't want to be transparent with information, obviously, because a lot of clients today, they'll go on the internet and find it out anyway, and then they're going to question you after. But be selective on what you're showing. Obviously, you're trying to prove a point. You're gathering information. It's like a little investigative reports that you're doing, compiling this together to actually price their house. Lots of great information in all of that. Expired, terminated, sold conditional. Well, how long before it actually went to sold conditional? Check the days on the market. Look at all the details. I mean, it's not all the time you've had a chance to see the property or go to an open house, so you don't really know. That brings me to another point. You should try to see as many homes as possible, especially as new agents. That's something that's really invaluable. As much as you may not have a plan for it, go out and see open houses, agent open houses, just to see what's going on here, how much is it listed for, and check the sold price. Next week, when it sells, go, oh, okay. Now you get a good feel for it. It was a 3-bedroom, 2-washroom, had a garage, and that's what it sold for in that pocket. It really puts a lot up here, a lot of information. Going back to, my listing I have on the market right now, it's in a great pocket. I don't know if you know Sterling Road. I have a listing at 264 Sterling Road. So it's an up and coming area in the Junction Triangle. It's hot pocket. You know, Molka Museum of Contemporary Arts just moved there. The Drake Commissary, breweries. It's up and coming. Little busy street, great semi-detached. It's a 2-bedroom plus 1. So I had to do my comparables on that also. I have sellers that are they're on it. Talk about helicopter moms, these are helicopter sellers. They're all over. Why? What? They want to know every detail. I had a very hard time finding other 2+1s that sold. Simple as that. I had one. Kat from our office had sold one, a mechanic, which was a 2+1 also. That was, which was a beautiful home. She staged it well. So I had to start there. Okay, great. There's a 2+1 semi that sold. From there, I had to extract, okay, what's the size of my property? That's super important. You're going to go through all your details. What is the width and the depth of the property? Now, I want to also make a point. In selling resale homes, it's a little bit different than condos, right? Obviously, 2 different products, oranges and apples. We'll get into condos after. With the homes, you're going to look at the frontage. The frontage and the depth of the property, super important. Because a lot of times with homes, it's not so much like a condo that it's square footage, where with a condo, you're definitely going to square footage. Well, how big was that condo on the 3rd floor versus mine on the 5th? You know, you can go straight to that and get comps and statistics. With homes, sure, you could, a lot of agents, you don't even see the square footage. We don't put it on there. And some people don't get floor plans. And, you know, so it's up to you to determine the size of the house. But with homes, I find it comes down to land value. It's a lot of land value, which will be the frontage, the depth of a property. That's gonna tell you quite a bit, you know, because people, you can tear it down, do what you wanna do with it. At the end of the day, you have land value right here in the heart of the city. That's worth something. From there, you can start extracting all kinds of information. And I would pull everything in front of me when you're doing your little investigative reports and write down all the details on there. How does it compare in your lot? Frontage, in the depth. Bedroom sizes, like with me, I had to, okay, I'm limited to one listing I sold, you know, in the last year, that's a 2+1. If you have a 3 bedrooms, compare the 3 bedrooms. 3+1s. Get as close as you can to your subject property, as close as you can. Now, if you have a 3 bedrooms and all you can find is 3+1s, that's what you have to work with. You're gonna compare it to the 3+1s. Because in the end, you can take away, you're gonna do, you know, okay, the one with the +1, you can subtract some kind of amount, which I'll get into in the end. You could put a value on that +1 maybe, or get as close to it as you can, where you can say, the 3 is worth this, but the +1 could be worth an additional 40,000 or something, depending on what the subject property is, right? So it's the width of the property for sure, the land, the room, how many rooms, how many washrooms, finished basements, all the details. A finished basement with a walkout, you know, a lot of value in that, which is a little different from a basement without a walkout, right? Parking, is there parking? Is there a garage or is there no garage? Sometimes you do have a parking spot, but you don't have a garage and shelter. All these things are valuable, right? That you need to compare with before you sit down with your
Storage also, some houses have storage outside.
Yeah,
Separate house for storage.
yeah, like a shed you're talking about, like that type of thing. Sure, that's good. It won't add that much value in the end. I don't think the storage spot, depending on if it has parking and if it has all better, you know, more superior things like a finished basement with a walkout. But yes, it definitely is to be noted that it has a shed. Everything about the property needs to be noted to compare it exactly. The thing is with that also, once you have all your information, once you have really gathered some great stuff and you see that, hey, this, I can come up with a price here. If this just sold within the last 6 months, and it's really comparable to my property, you can formulate an opinion on what your property is worth right now. If that's sold, you know, on this great street, and mine is on this great street, you can kind of come up with a value, right? Again, you're going to start adding and subtracting from your list that you have. What street is it on? Is it on a main street? Is it on Lansdowne? Is it on Symington, Dufferin, you know? Or is it on a nice residential pocket? Obviously, the residential street that's quiet and quaint is going to give you more value. And these are things you're going to mention.
Corner lot, not corner lot.
Corner lot, not corner lot. You know, does one have a, I mean, you could get into everything. Does it have a pool? No, it doesn't have a pool. The other one does. So many different little variables. But in the end, you have to, the main parts of it is comparing your lot size, your house itself, semi-detached, detached, townhouse. These are the facts you need to get to right away. Zoom right in on the main things. Parking, no parking. What's the location? Location is very important also. You know, you can't compare a property in Junction Triangle to something that's out in Scarborough, obviously. Try and get as close as you can. There will be a comp out there. If you have to go back past a year, then I would. If you can't find anything within the last year, go back 2 years, and that's what you're going to present to your seller. You're going to say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you know, really, I don't have a lot of comps to show you. But in my estimation, here, this is the price I want to present to you, based on what I found the prior year. Okay? That's all you have to work with. You're going to have to use your good sense and what you have from the MLS system. That's what we have.
If you go that far back, do you use the price index, the
The consumer price.
consumer price index on the truck provides?
You can use that.
You use
Yeah,
that,
yeah. You can. I haven't had an opportunity to go back that far, I mean, with any of my listings so far. I've always found comps that somehow they're there. There's gotta be something. There's gotta be something there.
Well,
You think in this a city this size, there'd be something?
Yeah, there usually is.
the reality is, like, when do you stop going back and start looking for variations of that same property? So if you're listing a 2+1, when do you just start looking at 3s and just accommodate your price accordingly, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
there's a 3-bedroom that sold 2 weeks ago,
Right.
that might be more relevant than a 2+1 that sold a year and a half ago.
Yeah, or, yeah, and if that's sold for $1 million and we have a 2+1, you know, what price do you think mine should sell at? I basically came to that with my conclusion too. I have it listed at $949, my 2+1 as a semi. The house, I know, it's high, it's like, wow.
This is the one on Sterling?
On Sterling, and, you know, they're saying, oh God, how did we get to those prices on Sterling? But the one across the street, semi-detached, 3-bedroom, +1, so superior to mine, sold for $1.1 million and change this year.
When?
Finished basement, May. Finished basement, nicely renovated. Mine is renovated as of 2012, so it's not as modern as this. Finished basement, 3+1, but they have no parking. My lot is about 25 feet deeper than theirs. See the lot size coming into play here? So I have a larger lot. They didn't even have a backyard, it kind of ends at the house. So no parking, but they have a renovated property with 3 bedrooms +1 and a finished basement. My basement's unfinished, 2+1, but I have 30 more feet of land. Plus I have a 2-car parking, which on Sterling, you can hardly park. No one has parking. So again, so my property becomes invaluable with what I have. But I have to compare it also to Cat's 2+1 that sold, which sold over $1 million in a little bit further, another community. And also the one across the street, which is the 3+1. They sold for $1.1 million with what they have. I deduced it, you know, summarizing what's superior, what's inferior, and came up with my price of $949. That this is what the market value of my property is right now. And I felt that $949 is actually, it's not pricing it, I do have an offer date, but not crazy pricing to expect a bidding war that's going to go, you know, outlandish. We're hoping for that. We're hoping it's going to go overpriced. But it's better to price it at what you think is market value right now or just below. You're going to get more showings. You're going to get more buyers attracted to your property than if you overprice a property. Which brings me to what this is saying also too. Here's a tip that pricing recommendation, I'm just going to read that. Oops, here we go. When sellers want to go above your recommended price, you also have to be sure that they know that any offer they accept must meet the test of the buyer's professional appraisal. A price that won't appraise will require additional money from the buyer. You guys understand what that means, right? So in this heated market, a house you have listed at, say, like my place, $949. Buyers come in and, you know, it may make an emotional purchase and purchase it for $1,150,000. You have to understand that that house needs to be appraised by their sellers unless they, you know, have inherited money or they have their own, you know, funds, which is very rare. That house must appraise for to be $1.1 million, right? Not for my $949. So they went above asking. They've gone over my price point, which it has to show also on comps. Where am I going with that? And a lot of times with appraisers, I actually pull up those listings that do sell. Like I would pull, if I had an appraiser, I'd pull the one across the street that sold for $1.1 million. Cat's listing that sold for $1.1 million also. So the value is there in what I'm you know, presenting. So it's something to consider though, you know. Not to let it scare you, but it's something that, in times of when people, like last year in 2016, a lot of homes, a lot of agents were listing homes way undervalued, way undervalued. You know, you'd see a lot of 799s, 699s, and the market was crazy, and people are bidding over. I had a person that went over 300,000, I think, over asking. That was right here, actually, on Pacific. It was a chef that owned the property. It was a gorgeous house, and it was just what he was looking for. Emotional purchase. He wanted it. It's like, that's the house I want.
That's like there's a duplex,
Yeah.
literally on Pacific, you know that red brick one?
Yeah.
That one, went for like way over ask.
Yeah.
No, it didn't. It was listed $999 for one house. There's two houses, so it was
Oh,
2 million.
yeah. That's right.
So it was
It's
$1 million each.
the one Frank Leo, I think, had?
Yes.
That's right. Yeah, it was
That's
2
what I
houses.
understand.
Yeah.
It's misleading, I know what you're saying.
It is, so it's tricky in what we're doing. Our job is not easy. You have to really not only pull your numbers and know what you're talking about, but make a judgment call on your own good spidey senses sometimes, you know, and don't be nervous about it. You have to present your case in a solid way and go into your sellers believing your price point, what it is. Don't feel that they're going to like bark you out of the room and if they do, it's to their prerogative. I know a lot of agents that list properties just so they can get the listing. It's like, oh, okay, you're Mr. Suggy. No way, my house is worth $1.1 million. They'd be like, okay, yeah, let's just take the listing. I'll list it at $1.1 million. Let's see what the market does. That's one of the worst things you can do. Okay, I know as new agents, it's great to get a listing and you want to get listings. It's going to end up costing you money. It'll end up costing you money. When I take a listing, there's expenses involved, you know. The sellers today want to know what you're going to do. How are you going to advertise? You're setting out just listed sign, you're going to do a feature sheet, you're doing your open houses. Time is money. This is what we do. Our time doing an open house costs money. Feature sheets, advertising on the internet, pay for the home inspection, floor plans, all of this. On most listings, spend at least $3,000 just before it's even listed. That's just advertising, marketing material, and it goes from there on and on, depending on how picky my sellers are. So you don't want to take an overpriced listing. You might spend your $3,000 on $1.1 million, and it's sitting there, and it's going to sit there. There you are out of pocket, and you know you're just waiting for this property to sell. I know I'm going to make like 25 grand on this. I know, and I know. Well, maybe not so much, and maybe you won't, and maybe it's going to come off the market, and it'll only be at your expense, because the sellers can, at the end of your contract, thank you very much, next agent, come in and let me see what you can do. And more than likely, if you've noticed, you can check it out on MLS, the next agent that comes in after an overpriced property, and you can see terminated and then relist. Check out who the agent is. It's usually another agent. It hurts, but it's another agent. Because as agents, we're usually the ones that are upfront, and we take the brunt of everything. You know, the sellers always come to, well, the agent didn't do a good job. You know, he didn't put up the just listed flyers. He priced it too high. Meanwhile, you're going with his price. So never do that. Always use your good professional opinion, even if you're new to the market right now. Do your homework. It'll show in the pricing. It'll come up through statistics. It'll show, hey, I think this is around that price range. And if you're definitely looking at open houses and seeing what homes have sold for yourself, you can make a good judgment call. You know, and it's better to go take a look at them, because sometimes just judging by pictures online, you can't really judge what a house really looks like. Photographers are great these days. You know, wide-angle lenses. All kinds of fabulous things, sepia toned, you know. Meanwhile, you go in there, it's a builder special. It's like, what? Yeah. So definitely go see as many homes as you can. It'll help you in your pricing, for sure. Let me just see what else is on as we go.
I have a question.
Yeah,
You
go ahead.
said property inspection on the listing side. So does the listing salesperson does this one property inspection? Because I thought buyer normally do that.
Buyers can do that. The market has changed a lot. I remember back in the day, usually the buyer's agent would come in and go, okay, we're going to do a home inspection and make it conditional upon home inspection. For my listings, I do a home inspection right away. I would rather be transparent. That's my thing.
It's more effective.
It's more effective.
There's
Way more
that,
effective. You have to
and
build trust with the buyer.
Exactly.
It's way more effective.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that the buyer will not do their own inspection.
I was just gonna get to
Because
that.
they don't trust.
Sometimes, yeah, they have their own inspection. They like, Baker, and they'll say, okay, I'm gonna bring my home. I've only found that once out of all the ones I've listed, that
So
someone
it's
came
also
with their own.
important who you hire to do the inspection.
Yeah,
If
that's
it's a
always
good
important.
company, they'll be
Mhm.
trusted.
Yes, for sure. Because there are companies out there, home inspectors that you could find anywhere, online, like in Kijiji, and it's a very unlicensed industry. So you want to get someone reputable. I get a reputable company. I either use Pillar and Post or Baker. I have one or two that depending on the property, if it's a luxury home or if it's an average home, not that it really matters, but I like to get my own home inspection done. I'll pay for it. $350, $400, it's well worth it for me. And to me, it shows the sellers, it looks like I'm doing my job, okay? How I explain that to them is that, yes, I'd rather have that home inspection done, Mr. Sellers, so we can be transparent about everything. It's like, yeah, but, the south wall has a little bit of a leak. It's, when it rains, the water comes in over there. Great. Thank you for telling me. What else? The spot over here, something's up with it. I have a little opportunity there. I don't know. Great. I'm glad to know that. Thank you. Not great things to know, but you're transparent.
Better you expose it and have it available to the buyers
That's right.
than have a buyer come through on a showing and there's water in the basement because
No.
the drain's plugged or something.
Doesn't show up. For me, you're
Doesn't
putting
show
your
up.
best foot forward when you do a home inspection. And usually by the time I get to an offer date, they've seen, I've emailed you out my home inspection. You've seen, yes, I have a water leak there, I have a little bit of this here, that there. And they start to negotiate, well, we have to repair that and stuff. Thank you, Mr. Purchaser, whoever you're presenting to. We've accounted for that in the price. This is why my price is this.
and you want a firm offer. So the more things that you can do is something that you can take out of the contract.
Yeah, that's another good point, exactly. So
When it's so hot and you have 5 offers maybe, you want,
if you're doing an offer date, if you are going to list the property and have an offer date, definitely do a home inspection. Definitely. You'll get asked by every agent, did you do a home inspection? And if you say no, it'll be like, oh, okay. Because it makes it more difficult for them. You have a seven-day span for them to bring an offer, and now they have to schedule an appointment, get that in there, rush to get an offer to just get the home inspection done. Sure, it's another expense, but it's well worth it. And it'll show well with your sellers too, that you're doing your job, hey, this agent's working hard for me. So, but it is an expense, right? So again, not to take an overpriced listing. It's gonna add to your bill for that house. Yeah, you have
So you do a pre-inspection and you find a leak in the basement.
yeah.
You just leave it at that. It's in the inspection for anybody that wants to see it.
Mhm.
Or you'll verbalize it, the agent's putting the offer in? Do you
Depending.
have to verbalize it? Because it's in the inspection.
Yeah, you don't have to expose it to everyone like, hey, yeah, I have a leak in the basement. Yeah, did you see the leak? Yeah, you don't need to expose it to that extent.
So as long as you make it available and it's up to them
That's
to
right.
read it. Okay.
You know what I
buyer
mean?
beware.
Buyer beware, but also us as agents, we don't want to be put on the line for that, hey, you didn't let me know. Say you're representing your own client, on the deal. You have to, by law, let them know that, that there is a leak in the basement. Make them aware of it. You do have to let them know. If it's an outside agent with their purchaser, read the home inspection and discover for yourself.
Okay.
And if you want to ask questions, go ahead, ask me that. Oh, yeah, there's a leak, and when you bring that forth, I'll ask. A lot of times, too, on that home inspection, the inspector will have an opening page that says, they allow the purchaser to give them a call and ask about that issue with the home. They are working, the home inspector is working for you, and don't forget that, or the seller. Whoever they did the home inspection for, they're working for. If they did it for the purchaser, they're working for that. So they're gonna be on your side, which is okay if a home inspector speaks to a purchaser. They will probably be more lenient in explaining the problem and giving them, a good explanation, but it only may cost this, so give them a cost evaluation, and this is what you need to do. But it's all great to be transparent and put your best foot forward. Even me, if I put myself in the shoes of purchasing a property, I'd rather know that there's an issue there. I can call that inspector, and what do you think that would cost me to repair? Do I need to put interlocking bricks? Do I need to slope it? What do I need to do? What, $3,000 to $4,000? It may be nothing to me, and I might think, hey, perfect. You know what? If that's the only issue with the house, great. I love everything about it. I'll buy it. So don't always think that, the deficiency or what's the problem is like, ooh, hide it in the closet. It's better to be transparent about it. As an agent, I always find that much better. Anyone have any questions? Yeah.
No, in the first tip, you said like property price is $100, but the seller wants to do it like $105, overprice. So now in case the buyer have to do the appraisal, so it is overpriced. But now the same situation, like you price it at $100, which is the right price, but there is a bidding war and it goes to 105. 105 means normally when the buyer have to buy the property means he has to go through a bank. So bank does the appraisal, or you said like buyer can also do appraisal.
No, it's I'm meaning the buyer's bank, whatever mortgage company is giving them the mortgage, they're gonna send someone to do that appraisal.
So appraisal does like, they say like $100, so the $5 means the buyer have to bring from his own pocket.
Yeah. Well, yes, if the appraisal comes in at, hey, no, it's only worth, well, $100, I don't know what house is worth 100, but let's say.
My example.
$1 million, and it goes $1,050,000. If the appraisal comes in at $1 million, there's a $50,000 deficiency, yes, because the mortgage company is only gonna account for the $1 million. Yes, your buyer will have to find $50,000 somewhere, which can be a problem. Your deal might fall through, and this is something you'd have to make your buyer aware beforehand also. Let them know that, you are bidding overpriced. This is something that your bank will want to look at. If your comps show it though, don't be too scared. Like if the one across the street sold for $1,050,000 and you can really prove your case. So a lot of times the appraisals, like I said, I give them the comps. When they come into, I have stuff prepared for them. Like, hey, this is what you sold across the street, down the street. They're like, oh, okay, great. It's a part of their job to do that. But I'd rather bring out the best points so that I know that that house will appraise for what I listed it for.
Summer places do not like for you, so keep them hurt.
No, I don't. I befriend them, buy them coffee, a beef patty, give them something. Usually I find that most of them are friendly, but hey, everyone's different, right?
Yeah.
Get on their good side. It's always good to be nice. Yeah. With that.
Someone refused to take my comps.
Oh yeah.
The appraiser, yeah.
Yeah.
Because they think they are underestimating them, they know what to do.
Yeah.
They know
Yeah.
what to do.
Yeah. It's how you talk to them without questioning their job ability or yeah. But I know the ego gets in the way, right? Same with us agents sometimes.
So the appraiser use the same data, right? The recent sale price, market, these things.
The appraisers have a whole different job profession. You can take the appraisal course through, TRED or OREA, and it's a very intricate course. So you need a degree or a designation to become an appraiser. So no, it's not compared to what we do. What we do as agents is a comparative market analysis, which is really the true value because we're the ones out there selling. And this is what the MLS data gives us. And this is really what we can go by and make your estimation from. An appraiser will look at that also, but that's not solely what they do. They do many other things that are very detailed in their job, depending on who their lender is. And that's what I was told, depending if it's CIBC, if it's Royal Bank. Every lender asks different things of that appraiser. if you took the course on appraiser, I think I had to do it, and I'm going back many years, but there's 3 different approaches that appraisers have, a cost approach, I forget the other one, sorry?
Direct comparison.
Direct comparison is another approach, there's 3 of them, right?
Yeah.
I forget the third one.
Okay,
Oh, yeah,
The income approach.
income approach, exactly, right? So, and that depends on the lender, what they tell them to do, like, hey, and I don't know how they determine that, like, yeah, do an income approach on this property, or, do a cost approach. So they're all different in their own way, very different, and you don't need to get into that, really, what the appraiser's gonna do. But they do pull the comps also, they do look at that, along with their cost approach, income approach, or whatever that is. And they sometimes adjust specifically to room size per room. Does it have a basement, an additional room in the basement? What is the size of that? They put an actual value, if they're doing cost approach, on that additional room or every part of the property. So
They have to be very cautious
Very
because
cautious.
they are liable.
Yeah.
They can be sued.
Mhm.
If the bank, if they tell the bank that the house is worth 900,000,
Mhm.
and then people who bought it cannot afford to pay it, and the bank is taking back the house,
Mhm.
and the bank cannot sell the house for 900,000,
That's right.
they are after the appraiser.
Yeah.
Well, most appraisers will work for bank, like most major banks have appraisers that work for them.
Mhm.
Because true, like that's the bank's main objective, right? The reason they appraise is because if you default on your mortgage
Yes.
and they need to sell the house, they need to make sure that they can recover
That's right.
the outstanding mortgage amount.
Yeah.
Conservative
Yeah.
with their estimation.
Yeah, they tend to be more conservative. Yeah, I've had appraisers appraise my house. Actually, it's a funny story. David Capelli, he used to be an appraiser. He appraised my property. It was about 7 years ago. Yeah, it's funny that he started working here, but, and he undervalued my property. I was like, what? How did you do that? So I remember calling him up after, he was very serious, like, well, I thought it didn't have this and that. We had a big discussion, but now that he's working here, it's a big joke between us. Like, hey, so don't let that weigh on your mind too much. What the appraiser's job is, he has a responsibility, and like you said, he's liable. So let him take his liability. We have our own liability and responsibility to our sellers to price the house right. We want to get it sold in the shortest amount of time. That's our objective. When I list the property, in my listing, I show them 2 different ways, or 2 ways that we could possibly list their property. So it all depends on the seller. One is, hey, let's do the approach where we're going to do an offer date, okay? I would like to list your property at market value or just under market value. The market is strong. Your home right now is in a high demand area. I think we can really exceed your expectation by listing it with an offer date. As a seller, it's a little risky. You have to put yourself on their shoes too, right? Because they think, oh, really? That's it? That's $899? But my house is really worth $999? You sure we can get this? And of course, it's a little bit nerve-wracking to think that, right? Because you're listing it low. So you have to really, again, show them the comps, show them how many properties, and show them the fact that what is listed at is selling over asking, right? That's a big selling factor with that. It's not for everyone, not for all sellers to be able to do that. They feel a little too nervous to do that. What if it doesn't sell? What if someone brings me an offer at $899? That's what I'm going to be held to that? Do I have to, it's a lot of things that go through their mind. First of all, you always have to let them know they're in the driver's seat. They're always in control. Sure, if someone brings you an offer for $899, you don't have to accept it. We'll change it. I have taken homes off the market, not too many, but at that price, whatever price we thought we were, they brought us an offer at that price because I only had one. And the sellers were disappointed. And you'll see that trend on MLS also, where the agent will pull it off the market and relist it the next day at $300,000 more. Which brings me to my second option that I give. So if they're a little nervous with the offer date, you know, type of strategy, and they feel it's a little too nerve-wracking for them, the second option is, why don't we list it at, show them the value of the property, say it's worth at $950, why don't we list it at a little bit higher? Let's go to $1,050,000 without that offer date. And let's just give it its time on the market. The market again is going to determine the price. Let's see who comes. Let's see our show. I'm going to advertise it for you. I'm going to still do the home inspection. I'm going to do everything that, you know, I said I was going to do. And now let's see how many showings we get. But note that the risk at that, with that strategy is someone may come in and negotiate the price with you. Because we're going a little above, and I've showed you the comps, here are the comps that, you know, you show them the comps of a house like this would sell for $1 million, right? But we're gonna list it at $1.1 million. So knowing that your property may not be worth $1.1 million, because why would it be worth it? And exactly the same orange is that just sold 2 months ago. Sold for $1 million. We can list it at $1.1 million, but it may not sell at that. Someone may negotiate with you. And that's usually the case what happens. So it sits a little longer on the market. Depending on how high you go, I would not go too high. This is again, bringing me back to the point of the agents that listed way too high, and then sit on it. You know, you're wasting time. Time is money, and you're also expending yourself on marketing. So when you do that second strategy for me, sure, it's over the price point that I would like to go at ideally, but not super over, not like a crazy figure, okay? So conservatively a little bit more. Give them the choice, you know? I think most people, I like to list with an offer date. I see a lot of properties now without an offer date, and I think it's depending. The market's shifting a little bit. It depends on where you are exactly. Is it in the right pocket? Is it a super popular street? If it's not, maybe you don't want the offer date. If it's not such a great street, you know? I wouldn't do an offer date and blow it out with marketing on Dufferin, you know, corner house on Dufferin and Dundas.
Yeah.
May not work.
Makes no sense.
Makes no sense. You're not, you know, people are gonna be, it'll always be a house on Dufferin.
Yeah.
Look,
You
Dundas.
just never gonna
You can't change that.
You look at that giraffe,
Exactly. That's right.
right? Like,
Right. Right. So what do you suggest? Let me
What were
ask
you
you.
thinking?
What would your suggestions be on a house like that? Corner Dundas and then Dufferin.
I wouldn't do this thing. I don't want it.
I know, there's that too.
Yeah,
There's that too.
that would be what I would do. I would not take that listing.
No?
No.
There's that too, right? And there's a lot of agents out there that will not take certain listings. In the beginning, I remember thinking, are you crazy? That's your paycheck, take it.
No.
Everything sells. No, no, I'm very selective with what I take, yeah. Very, very selective. And you'll get to that stage too. You'll get to that point also. Once you get your hands really into it, you get a grasp of what properties sell, what don't. Are you going with your seller's price versus your price? You'll get into knowing exactly what will sell and what won't. Because some homes, if it's a piece of junk, just won't sell. You know. So why not be selective? Does anyone have any questions? No? Let's see what we have here. So, price per square foot can be a valuable tool, but only when comparables are very close together in terms of features, age, condition, and location. Properties in a newer subdivision would be a good example. So, I don't really sell in subdivisions or any kind of area that has that. Toronto doesn't have too many subdivisions, 905 and places like that, but can relate to condos. Is there people in the class that want to specialize more in selling condos? Yeah, great, awesome. That's it. Such a hot market these days. Yeah. By the way, a good reference point for condos in terms of statistics, condos.ca. I don't know if anyone goes on there. It's a good friend of mine, Carl Langschmidt, started condos.ca. We both work together at War LePage. I think he has 300 agents now working for him. The site is condos.ca. If you join up, log in, you can go into all the stats. His site is all about information, and it brings it straight to the building you want. You plug in whatever building, it'll take you right there. What's the last sold? What's the price per square foot? Tells you how much you should sell that property for. What's the trend in the tons of it. It's all free information. It's a great site. He gets a lot of business from it because he has an agent, and every building has an agent, so an agent may reach out to you after saying, hey, you need help, but keep it in mind. Good website for condos. And the condos definitely are different from homes, so it's obviously they're going to be more comparable to price per square foot is definitely a big issue with condos, right? The price per square foot, does it have parking? Does it have a locker? What floor is it on? These are all important things with a
I find
condo.
it very data driven.
Exposure. Sorry?
Very data driven.
Yeah,
Everything's very quantifiable.
very, very much so. Yeah. I find condos easy to sell, personally.
Easy to price.
Easy to
I mean,
price
easy to
and,
sell.
yeah, once you get the price down, it's much easier than a home anyway. With a home, you know, reseller, you're getting into so many variables.
Yeah.
Issues that could happen. I just find it more interesting. There's more stories with homes and bigger price, well, depending, bigger price point for me anyway in terms of what you're selling. But yeah, condos you can definitely get all the stats on it and the comparables, and so many sold, so many comps to compare to that you can come up with a figure right away and show your seller. And yeah, prepare your comps really well. You'll be shining, you know, in what you have to sell. Again, same thing. I wouldn't take a high-priced listing on even a condo. Okay. So for the newbies, have you anyone had a sale recently or has done a listing? Anyone? I know you've been working on your dad's property. Yeah. That's good. It's challenging. You sold.
Well, I've done stuff, but I'm with Trish and Kevin, so
Yeah.
I'm not trading, so I only see so much of it.
Right.
I've had 2 buys and we're on
Oh, good for
my
you.
first 2 listings.
Wow. Nice. So you've had 2 listings.
They're just coming up right now, like in the next 2
Awesome.
weeks.
Oh, congrats.
Thank you.
Where are they?
They're both in the East End. One's on Gillard and one is on just off of Woodbine Corridor.
Okay.
So they're little
That's
centers.
a hot pocket over there.
Yeah, it's a really hot little pocket.
Yeah.
So one will be up in a week and the other will be up in probably 3 weeks.
That's great. Congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah. We're working with a great team. You know, for sure. What did I want to get into here? There's some more slides here. That's okay. See you. So let me ask whoever would like to comment on it though, in terms of, okay, you're all doing cold calling and calling, lead gen,
Door knocking.
door knocking, great. Door knocking works,
Door knocking works.
it's amazing,
That's, this listing that's coming up this week is from door knocking.
incredible, isn't that great?
And the other listing is, that I have coming up 2 weeks is from door knocking.
Amazing, amazing. I mean, I'd say go old school, for sure.
It works.
I
And
tell
right
people
now,
sometimes I
the
door
food
knock.
drive thing is totally working.
Great, good for
They're
you.
loving it.
Yeah, yeah.
They're loving it.
It's a little bit scary once you start doing it, but yeah, once you gain your confidence, I've never had anyone really rude to me.
Yeah.
You know, you get scared of walking up and knocking at that door, but if you have your script down and it's just a friendly, hey, hello.
My first day, I sat in my car terrified to get out of my car.
Right.
Not like, no kidding, I sat on the street and I never got out of the car.
Really, right?
So,
Yeah,
and now I'm like,
yeah.
totally,
So you prefer that to calling on the phone?
absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I find, well, yeah, a lot of people don't have a home phone anymore anyway, so you're getting numbers that, you know, that you can't get a hold of anyone. You know, it's good practice, but you can't. And I find people always want to see you in person. It's such a odd thing that a real estate agent, I found, be knocking at your door and, yeah, and how you present yourself, yeah.
So much you need to build trust face
Mhm.
to face.
Yeah. And if you're coming across a very, you know, easy way, like you're not even approaching them about selling their house, like, hey, do you know anyone in the neighborhood, your neighbor's selling, that may be moving in the next 5-6 days, then it's great, yeah. Let me just ask, there's a lot of people in here. Yeah. How do you make it? Is that it?
What was happening yesterday too, where the videos were
Oh, yeah.
giant. We could see the guy's chin.
Ah,
Perfect view.
Yeah. The underside of one half of his chin, you know?
yeah, why isn't it, that's the end of this. Oh, okay. You can leave them.
Oh, you could try, if you hold control and then scroll backwards, it should zoom out.
I was just gonna try and size the monitor to the
Mm-hmm.
TV elevation.
Of the aspect ratio.
Always the techie in the room. Are you? This seems like we should have other slides.
Oh,
Yeah, it seems like it was ended, there's a-
oh, is that an issue with the sizing or with the actual PowerPoint?
No, the actual PowerPoint. That's it?
Yeah, I don't know.
You're not even trying for it anymore?
Did you download it?
I just pulled it up over there. It says it's only 16 pages.
Oh, is it? Okay, wow, okay. 16 it is?
I just want to go back.
Oh, no. Let me see if it was 16. Mhm. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's about it. So who has any questions for me? Anything at all? Anything at all? I guess it would feel like it's a nerve-wracking kind of process also, especially when you're new to sit in front of two sellers and, you know, really hone in on their pricing of their property. This can be, you know, a bit of a challenge. Try to feel confident in what you do. That's all I can say. Swallow, breathe deeply, and most people aren't going to chase you out of the room, you know. And I find even when sellers sometimes are really adamant or they're a little forceful and aggressive in what they're saying, you will go away as the expert. Don't falter and just bend on because someone's being aggressive to you. Oh, okay, change your price and like cower down. Never do that, okay? Stay firm on what you feel is right. Go in there with your numbers, your comps, why you came up with that price, and stick to it, you know?
So is that how you deal with the objection handling? So if you go into a listing presentation, and you just want to get an idea of what they think their house is worth, and they tell you like 1.5, and then you say, I did a CMA, and based on the comparative, blah, 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 it seems to only appear to be worth 1.3. And
Right.
then there's like a disconnect. How do you try and bridge that gap and get them to see your point of view?
Well, once again, first of all, you have to be delicate with your words, right? And always say to them, you know, Mr. and Mrs. Sell, thank you for asking, that's a good question. So based on what I have here today, here are the comps, which is why I feel that your house is only worth 1.3, okay? And this is where, again, the proof is in the pudding. It's gonna be there. It's going to show up on those listings. So, and there's so many scripts that you can get off KW, you know, so, and always asking them questions. So why do you feel your house is worth $200,000 more than this property exactly the same that's sold? And a smile on your face, you know. And they may tell you something ridiculous, you know,
Ask
but
them if they've seen any of the houses that you got as comps too, they might know that house.
yeah, they may have seen it and you haven't, right? The fact will still come down to what it's sold for.
Sure.
You know, if they saw it, great, that's awesome. Never lie about that you saw a property either, that might come back and bite you in the ass, you know. A lot of times you think, oh yeah, I've seen it too, and they're like, that basement was horrible. No, never do that, yeah. And I thought the basement was really nice, what was horrible about it? Oh, they didn't have pink carpet? No. So, yeah, it'll show up in your comparables, you know, where you can argue a price. It's all about your scripts too. Study your scripts and know how to handle objections with sellers. You know, they will come up. They will give you objections. They may go away and think about it, about what you said. You know, like, oh, I don't know, that's a bit. We never thought it would be that. You're the only agents we're interviewing right now. Let them interview more agents. Feel confident with yourself. You do not want an overpriced listing. It's going to cost you money, and it's not worth it. You know, it's just not worth it in my estimation. You know, objections are really important to handle. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's a class on this too, on objection handling that you can get into, and you can relate to Trish on that. She's the objection.
She's a master at it.
That's right, yeah.
She really is. It's
Yeah.
like-
Yeah. But you know, not all personalities are alike. We're not all like super confident and outgoing and outspoken, and it's okay. You don't have to be that. You be who you are in the person you are and how you present. It's amazing how people blend with other people depending on you. They'll take to your personality just the way you present. You can be humble and smart and to the point. You don't have to be aggressive, and they might love your personality. That's what's great about this industry, from, you know.
There's somebody for everybody.
Yeah, from bulldogs to the most humble, meek little person. There's an agent I know, I think it's what's her name, Julie Seal. She sells so much. She's an Asian agent, speaks very quietly, kind of mousy. You know, you would never think, you never guess you would think an agent would be like, hey, driving a Mercedes, but boisterous, big ego, or somewhere anyway. You'd never guess she's an agent. She makes a killing. I'm sure she's making well over $2 million a year. And she sells like crazy. I see her sign everywhere.
Yeah, she does a lot of commercial.
A lot of commercial.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Some are boarded up and stuff.
Oh my
There's her
God.
name.
Every time I drive on Dundas West, I'm like, oh, Julie Seal. Wow. Again.
Wow.
I think her father was in real estate, so she took on a lot of his clients, but she's been in the business for probably like 12 years. She does really well. So, let your own personality shine is what I say.
Getting a property surveyed,
Yeah.
is that the seller's responsibility? Like if you're gonna do pricing and
Yeah.
they don't have a survey, like I had a property and I didn't have a survey, so I had to go get it.
Uh-huh.
And that cost like $3,000 and.
Wow, that much? I thought they were like 700 to just over 1,000. That's costly.
Yeah.
Where was that property?
Oh, that was my house.
Or where was that property?
Just
Like
here on Dundas. And it was never, they never had one, they had a written one, so
Okay.
that was way back. So then they were telling me I could take if my neighbors all did a survey, then that would give me the square
Oh, right.
of what's left between.
Yeah, I would, you know.
Maybe it was 1,800.
Mhm.
It was like 2 years ago.
That's still a lot of money.
Yeah.
There's a product called title insurance today that it's a product that lawyers sell. It's basically, it's for the properties that don't have surveys.
Oh.
A lot of times, a lot of these homes, they don't have surveys. I use it all the time. So the purchaser's lawyer will include that. It's called title insurance. I think it costs like $150 that they sell to their client as a product, which covers any encroachments, right-of-ways, the fence is on the property incorrectly, whatever it is that has to do with that property, because we do not have a survey that pops up in the future, it's covered under title insurance. It's an amazing product, came into effect, I don't know, maybe like 7 years ago.
So you don't need to have a survey of a house to sell it?
No, you don't have to have a survey. It's great if you do. If the owners can dig it up and come up with a survey, amazing. But you don't have to, no. And I would ask a lawyer's opinion on that, and they'll tell you the same thing. The lawyers I work with are closer, always like, title insurance, they just, tag that on and that's it. Sure, is it great to see exactly where, the right-of-ways are and all of that? I mean, it'll be in the legal description on MPAC, sometimes hard to read, but, yeah, title insurance will cover it. You don't have to have a survey.
And it also covers legal fees also, the lawyer's fee for doing this work. If there's any problem with title,
Yes,
now in order to find if the problem has been rectified or not, you have to hire a lawyer.
yes,
Now if you have title
Yes.
insurance, it covers the lawyer fee.
yeah, the title insurance takes care of
If
everything.
you don't have a survey, that is a good option.
Yes, it's a great product, yeah. Sorry to tell you that after you spent some money, but. So yeah, get all your information, though. It's good to get everything, your ducks in order when you're listing. When you're going to list a property, have a game plan. I say before you even, now's a great time to start, as new agents, to start putting together, hey, if I had a listing, how would I want it to be? When you go into open houses, even on a weekend, if you're Saturday, Sunday, you see a public open house, so go pop in. Go see what feature sheets they have. Do they have, square foot, the floor plans out? The agents are doing so much great stuff with listing a property now. It makes sometimes a little hard to
Could
compete.
queue.
Sorry?
Could queue.
Could queue?
Could queue is like I've seen it on the back of listing sheets quite often.
Yeah.
It's like, the schools are here, these are
Yeah.
the schools, there's walking distance to here, the
That's
transit
right.
is here. It's like this
Exactly.
little
Your walk score.
blurb of about 6 or 8 different relevant things to the community. And I believe it's called Hood Q.
Mm-hmm.
Hood?
Hood,
Q.
H-O-O-D-Q.
And you can put up, yeah, the
See a
internet
walking
is full of
stand.
information, pull up your walk score.
Yeah,
What's going on in the neighborhood,
the schools,
the schools.
for sure,
Yeah.
you need the schools.
Yeah. I like to put together a little binder, thin little binder with all of that. 3-hole punch, leave it open on the dining table. Here are the schools, the neighborhood, the nearest parks, daycare. People love that stuff. They love it, they love it. And it looks great on your end too with the sellers, that you're doing your job, you're really invested in trying to sell the property. Some agents, I've seen nothing. I just sold a $2.3 million property in, where's that, Witchwood Park. Agent had nothing, nothing.
That's crazy.
No MLS on the table,
That's crazy.
nothing, nothing, no cookies, nothing. You can hardly even get a hold of him,
Who's on
How
vacation?
many people on your team?
myself.
Just yourself?
Yeah, I'm looking to hire an admin, I'm just bogged down with too much paperwork, but, yeah, right now it's just me, but definitely starting a team. Yeah,
It's time, man.
oh, way overdue.
It was time 2 years ago.
2 years ago, exactly. Yeah, it takes away from everything else, but yeah, team for sure. But yeah, check out what other agents are doing, and now's a great time to get what I call systems. you know, whatever. This is Joe's systems for listing. I want this, I want that, I want, you know, I want my home booklet, I want to do a home inspection, I want to do floor plans, blah, blah, blah. Have your costs. Say, hey, this listing is going to cost me $2,000 to list, you know, in general. And so you have a price point. You know what you're dealing with. You know what you're dealing with. When you go to talk to sellers about what listing their property, you feel more confident. And you can actually say to them, look, it's going to be all over social media. It's going over all these, the websites, going to be on all websites. I'm putting out just listed cards to the public. Maybe in some areas, I don't know who does print advertising. Some luxury homes do print advertising. I think your mom does that a lot.
All about it.
Yeah, you see that luxury homes, they love that. They all pick up that little newspaper and like, oh, look at this house. Know what you're doing, what area you're targeting, what's your game plan for when I get a listing. Because you will come up where you're going to get a listing and you don't want to scramble at that point. Like, what do I need to do? You're going to be panicked just trying to come up with the right price and your listing appointment time for 7 o'clock on Thursday, and you'll be, you know, you don't want to be sweating buckets, and you want to be calm, cool, collected, and knowing exactly what you're doing with your listing. And start with a little listing package, put that together, a little bit about yourself first, the company you work for, and then what you're going to do. Don't put too much information. Most people don't want to hear so much about the company, I find. They don't care. Keller Williams, Remax, Royal LePage. Just a little bit of a blurb about who you work for, and more about you, what you're going to do to sell your property, what it's worth, what the market is doing. People want to know what the market's doing right now. Be up on the market. And you can get tons of information. Market Watch, right on the MLS, you'll get up-to-date info, what the market's doing. And it's all good for you. You're just going to feel super confident walking in. And it's all about that. What you give off, the energy you bring to a room, is what the sellers pick up on. If you're a little shy, humble, a little nervous, they may pick up on that. Think, I don't know, can they handle this sale? Because it is a big deal for them. It's one of their biggest properties or investment that they'll ever sell. They want to know that they have you. And some people don't care. They'll have the confidence in you and they'll just let you do your thing, which is great. Those are the best clients. You know, sure, you're going to do your best and do everything you can to please them. And there's other sellers that they want to know everything you're doing. They want an update every week. How many people saw it? What did they say? Are they coming? Any offer? Did you do an open house? Did you serve water at the open house? They want every detail, right? It gets a little crazy sometimes. But create your own identity with that, you know. Yeah, bless you. Bless you. Anyone have questions about anything at all? Listing, selling, pricing, clients?
Is it anything means, do you door knock?
Yeah. I don't do it often enough. I don't have a regular routine. I feel that's what I need. So I know for sure Tuesday, even if it's Tuesday, Thursday, I'm going door knocking. You know, some weeks I door knock once. Next week I'm not door knocking 3 times. But I do door knock. Yeah.
So what is your, what as for you should be the most effective first point of contact and how you start the conversation?
Oh, with door knocking?
Yeah.
So many great scripts out there for door knocking. I keep it really simple. I don't usually say, sorry to interrupt you. I did start out saying that. Not a good way to start. Most people, you feel like, boy, I mean, they're eating supper or they're having kids. Like you feel intimidated already before you knock at the door. Don't say that, but I just introduce myself. Hi, I'm Deborah Robinson with Keller Williams. I work in the neighborhood. I'm an area specialist. And I was wondering, do you know of anyone looking to buy or sell property in the area? Or I have a great listing coming out at the end of the street. I'm really looking for buyers. I wonder if you can help me. Do you have any friends or relatives that are interested? Oh no, not interested at all. That's too bad. You have a lovely home. This is great. How long have you lived here? 10 years. Are you thinking of moving? No, I'm going to carry me out in a box. Or it strikes up a conversation though, right? But just friendly conversation like that. But it's usually about the neighbors. Do you know of anyone in the neighborhood looking to buy or sell? I have a great listing in the neighborhood. do you have any real estate questions I can answer? Everyone loves to talk about real estate. You know, we're in the business, so we feel like there's so much we know and we get a little panicked on our end. People want to talk to you. They do. Be like, yeah, oh, you know, how much did that house sell for up the street, by the way? Did you know the one with the red roof and the... Make sure when you door knock also to get everything that listed on the street that's sold, so you can give them that information. You can present value to them that you're in the door already. And right away, I usually give them something. I have little scratch pads with my business card at the top. Whatever it is, it's cheesy, but guess what, it works. I have people call me back with my name on a pen, you know, that they've kept. Cheesy stuff works. Same old cheesy stuff, old school. Yeah, it does. You know, that I still go into homes, I see the business card on the magnet on the fridge, right? Yeah, so it's really just getting yourself in the door. And someone might call you in a year, or they may call you in 2 years. But it's constant, consistent, doing that, doing the door knocking. You have more chances of someone calling you or saying, hey, yeah, you knocked on my door. I'd like some more information. Can you come by? It happens. There's literally, it happens to me all the time.
It happens.
When I door knock, and you get the days where it's like, nothing happens, right? But you will get a call back saying, hi, yes, I'm so-and-so, number 83, Edwin knocked at my door. Bingo. Don't act too excited. When you get off the phone, you can do the happy dance.
Write him a note, drop it off a couple of days later.
Yeah.
Thanks for the chat.
That's it.
Here's your business card. If there's anything I can do to help you,
Yeah,
don't hesitate to reach out.
exactly. Great point. Yeah, always give a little note after they call you. Goes a long
And
way.
then don't forget them. Like, don't ignore them.
Don't ignore them, yeah. I would spend more time doing that than I would on marketing materials, because as agents, as you know, we could spend a lot of money on stuff, right? It's all about the stuff. You need the best measuring tool, and this, and the device. You've got to look hip, and the iPad for the open. Or even sending out marketing material. You know, I still get every week, I think I get what's his name, Nelson Campbell's business card. But it's always in my mailbox.
Wow.
It's been on for years.
You should collect them all.
Yeah, I should go down the street and take them all out. Like, get out of my neighborhood, Nelson.
It pays, like, the listing that will go up in a week. The first time I door knocked it was an invitation to a neighborhood open house, and I got his name. And the next time I went down the street, another week or so later, I had his number with his name next to it. So when I saw him, I could say, hi Eric, how's it going? And I just kept walking. And that little snippet was gold.
Really?
Gold.
Yeah.
So every time I see somebody, the next time I go out, I know exactly who I talked to at what house, and when they're on the front porch.
Yeah.
Hey, Ethel!
Oh, yeah. It's
You know,
great.
It's great.
So great, yeah. Even where you live, you walk in the neighborhood, let people know you're a realtor. It's a great profession. Chat them up, chat up your neighbors, chat up. There's so many agents that they wear a badge all the time. I've seen it in Metro, you know, when they wear a little roll of page, name tag, I am a realtor. Why not? The cashier might be like, oh, you're a realtor, let me ask you, yeah, what do you think my house is worth? Okay, well, come by at around 7, okay? Or you get business everywhere. Talking in the elevator, get your 2 minutes of elevator talk down the path. You know, someone might just ask you, yeah, what business are you in? Get into it. Hey, I'm a realtor at KW, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's an exciting time to be in real estate. Never be disappointed. There's tons of agents out there, much more than when I started. Doesn't matter. There'll never be too many, and each of us are individuals that people will be attracted to on their own level. You know, someone might dislike me and go, I never want to deal with that girl. I don't care how much she knows. I just can't stand her. Whatever. And they may want to deal with you. They may, you know, it may be for whatever reason. If you're more at home, maybe their personality, their background. So lots of business out there to be had, guys. Go take it. I say, you know, make your plan. Keller Williams is one of the best companies for all of that, for setting your GIC, setting some goals. Hey, we're coming into 2019 next year. This is the end of, or October, November, December. Start planning for next year. It's going to be a slow time, but guess what I find? This time of year is the best time to plan for next year for spring. It comes up fast, and you want to be ready. Get your spring head on, you know, you will have, that's when people want to talk to you about, yeah, I want to list my property. Sun's coming out, yeah, have all your stuff ready to go, you know, your binder, here's my listing pres, this is what I'm going to do, it's my comps. What am I going to pay for as an agent? Am I willing to negotiate commission? That's a whole nother course in itself. You know, 'cause you have so much competition out there. And then there's some agents that never reduce their commission. And I'm all for that. I'll be like, never, no way. This agent, the one I told you I sold the $2.3 million home, he actually suggested that in the end. We couldn't come to a point. We're like 30,000 off. And he said, well, you know, I can come down on the price. I'm willing to do a little something if you are, and then we can come together. And I said, no. I said, I don't reduce my commission. Never do. And I'm not doing that here. I said, you can, if you want to, speak to your sellers, that's fine, but I'm not. And I'll get back to me. I walked away. I didn't tell my buyers at the time about that. And the agent called me back a week later. Says, okay, we got a deal at that price. No reduction of commission. I don't know what he did on his end. I didn't ask him, but we got the price that we wanted, 2.3. So stand firm on where you're at, you know. There's a lot of wishy-washy agents out there, that's what I call them, they're willing to do anything, you know. Sure, I'll take that at 1%. Okay, 0.5, sure, okay, give me 0.5, I'll do it for you. You know, who's gonna have faith or trust in anyone that is, you know, you can't be, you're all over the place on your price. How are you going to negotiate a deal at the end of it? You're the one sitting at the offer table. They want to know they have a strong agent that is able to negotiate this price, that you can present your comps and go, no, we're not accepting that offer, or, you know, your price is way too low because so-and-so sold, and, you know, my sellers won't accept it, and that's it. That's it. It's better to be that way. Be strong on your price. So that's about it, unless you guys have questions or you want to discuss anything at all. I have business cards here. If you guys want to call me at any point in time, feel free. I'm willing to discuss. There's no question that can't be, is a dumb question, put it that way. I was just telling Joe that I'm even asking questions. I just call, I have a mentor, and I call her all the time. And I go, oh my God, I can't believe what, I cannot believe this seller wants this or this, and, you know. And she's like, okay, don't do this. I'm asking questions all the time, you know. And so never think it's too, you're supposed to be smart enough and you have to all the courses. I'm supposed to know it all right now. You don't. It's an interesting time to start. I have one.
Did you run out of business cards?
I have a few here.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, feel free if you have any questions at all. It's always good to have. And that's the great thing about KW. We're all family.
How did you spend your first year?
Thank you. Stressed. Did everyone get it?
And how long, I won't.
Oh, okay.
And how long was the first date?
I was drinking a lot of wine the first year, put it that way. Like, oh my God. I had a great mentor the first year, actually. And I worked with Roy LePage, and she was so sweet. I remember her, Anne. And she'd always put me at ease when I asked a question. So I tell you what I was. The first year, I was so hungry to know what every other agent was doing. And there were some top producers in my office at Royal LePage Central, St. Clair and Young. Jonathan Ferrier, Brian Elder, I still remember them. We all started at the same time. And I always kept myself like, why couldn't I be? These guys are mega stars. What are they drinking? You know. So I was always like trying to figure out, what are you doing? And I kept changing my strategy, is what I did.
And was that a good thing or a bad thing?
Bad thing. That was a bad thing. I was getting to that. Jonathan was focusing on condos. He drank the Kool-Aid of real estate, and he was young. He was like 23, 24, but he was on a roll. He was at the office from morning till night. He's always on the phone, cold calling, walk. I don't even know how he did it. And I thought I had to do that. Okay, I gotta stay at the office all day long. I'm gonna cold call him. I tried following Jonathan. You know, Brian Elder was advertising a lot. He was doing a lot of marketing, you know, personal brochures, advertising everywhere, buildings, condo buildings. So I started doing that. No, Brian's got it, I'm gonna do that. Constantly chasing someone's tail is what I was doing.
Interesting.
For the first year. I think like the first year and a half. And I don't know what happened exactly, but I remember just stopping and going, Deb, you know it all. You're nervous. You don't need to follow anyone. I don't be yourself. I don't do what I want to do. If I want to market, I can market. If I want to advertise. And I just came to this, I was like, started to breathe and think, all right, great. I feel very personal. I like reading people. I love chatting with them. I started door knocking, started being more social, starting little meetup groups and talking real estate. I did seminars in local libraries, which is great too, little seminars. I hooked up with banks, with the mortgage broker there, and he said, can I do a little seminar? Whatever, half an hour. I said, sure, I'd love it. Let's do Friday evening, a little coffee and donuts. Sure, spread it out. 10 people, maybe 11 people, maybe 3 people sometimes, but I started doing it once a month. People loved it. I got so many questions, and it was just a nice time. I started slowly coming out of my shell and bringing forth what I felt to do. I liked that little group environment that I was doing, and started picking up business and doing really well. But I forgot about John Perrier and Brian Elder. It's like, great. Yeah, they're awesome guys, and they still do very well for themselves. But there's so many different niches you could find on your own. But my first year, 2 years, yeah, was comparing myself, and it was tough because we do. And you don't feel you know enough. You feel like, oh, that other agent's better than you are. They know more, they're more experienced. Experience says a lot, sure. It does, you know, you've been through a lot.
But I think, you know, just trying to find your style in all of this is just overwhelming. Like getting to know how would you respond to an objection. That, you know, if you come from that place of contribution and all of that, like, that's huge. Like you're helping people.
It's
so
huge.
what does help look like for you?
Yes.
And for them, what do they need?
Yes.
And just to find it to sort of, I just want to be myself. I love who I am, and it comes natural. So to be anything other is kind of, oh, I might, you know, stumble and fall, and that's not what I want to present.
Just by what you just said, recognize what you just said, and be that.
Right.
That's what I'm speaking about, that I had to go through that transition myself. Just be that, you know.
Yeah.
We're human, you know, you pinch us, it hurts, because we're all the same. And some people out there are maybe nasty, and some are really super nice. But we ultimately have to be who we are. It doesn't matter what you present. If you're coming from a place of contribution, and you're a good person, you really want to help that person, not just make a ton of money, because that will come out. If you're just in this business to make money, it'll show up in the end. It'll show up. It'll show up really fast. And guess what? That other person, your seller or buyer, they'll pick up on it. People aren't stupid. They'll pick up on it. They're just looking for
You can't hide it.
No, you can't hide it. So just be honest and really just be helpful. It's hard work. It takes time. Do things. Go over above the other agent. Do things. On listings, I'm like out there in the backyard with a blower, cleaning up leaves, and I'm do a little touch up. Who cares? I don't care. I'm gonna make great commission on this. I don't mind spending a couple hours doing that. Some agent would go crazy. Great, not. I'd never do that. You list the property, you do your agent thing, and that's it. Do what you feel. I'm not saying you have to do that, but there's nothing wrong with doing that. You know, don't wear that big bad, hey, I'm a real estate agent title, and you know, I make a lot of money. No, you're out there helping people with their finances and finding them a great home and selling their home for a great price. That's what we do. And I find at the end of the day, we're more lead generators than we are salespeople, because you have to have that business in the pipeline coming. So really and truly, I'm a lead generator. And by the way, I'll sell your house. That's how I look at it mentally, yeah. Yeah, because we're early. You stop selling that one house, or you sold it, okay. Now what are you gonna do?
If you're not lead generating, you got nothing.
Yeah, nothing. What are you gonna sell next? You've done all your brother, sister, cousin, brother, that's done. Now you're gonna sit by yourself, you don't have an income. We are independent contractors, you don't have a paycheck coming in unless you're selling. You know, so whatever it takes, a lot of people are buying leads online now, that works. Where do you find your leads? It works. Websites, if that's what you wanna do, if you're a webby type of person. I had a lead gen website called Toronto-lofts.ca. I shut down. I had a ton of leads from that, overwhelming amount of leads. So websites work with leads. A lot of interest. It was more a lead gen site I call because it was basic and it just had a form you filled out. Like, here's a flashy building and are you interested in selling or buying? So get that person to fill out that form and they'd send me a request. Yeah, looking to sell, looking to buy. How much is my place worth? I got a ton of leads. This was maybe about 10 years ago. But just as a point of, that works. Just as door knocking works. Just as people calling on the phone works. Wearing a name tag and chatting to people all over the place, chatting up real estate, that works. Calling up expired listings. There's so much business out there that's for the taking that I think any real estate company in the market right now can be very successful. Very successful. If you really are diligent, have a game face on, have a game plan, it's a good time. Good time. Plan for next year's spring. You know, like have all your stuff together and you'll rock it. Be confident with what you have and just go out there and start selling. And if you don't know something, it's easy to say, you know what, I'll get right back to you on that. I'm not quite sure. Find out the information, come back to them. Who doesn't appreciate that? Just because you don't know right away doesn't put you at a disadvantage. Oh, that's a good question. I'll find out for you, I'll get right back. Just skip right over it, I'll get back to you. You're not going to think, I wonder why you don't know that. You won't. You're thinking, I should know that. You get paranoid, you do get panicky, you get in the beginning. Don't. Just find out the information. Feel free to call me if you want to ask me anything else.
Once you have a listing, and you have them signed and everything, do you have a checklist of what you do next?
Yeah. I do. My checklist comes from Irene Kachonsky. She has, talk about systems in place. Wow, they're awesome. I can send it to you.
I was just going to say, you're willing to share that checklist?
Absolutely. She shared it with everyone, her assistant, and it's so good. It's for a checklist for buyers, checklist for sellers, checklist pre-listing, after listing. It's long, it can be intimidating, but just go through and highlight what you think, okay, I'll do that. Yeah, I'll do that. And then create your own list, subtract your list. Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Awesome.
Do you have your business cards?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Sure, if anyone wants that, I'll send it to them. Yeah, getting your systems in place is do you want, absolutely. I'll send anyone else want to give me a
Send you an email, actually. Yeah, because I don't want to cover it.
Yeah, okay, no problem.
I'll just send you an email.
Yeah, no, send me an email. You know what I just thought of? I just switched from Rogers to Bell.
Okay.
And my email is, on there it says my full name @rogers.com. Now I'm at bell.net. Bell.net. Yeah, Deb Robinson at bell.net. Awesome. So all you guys want the systems?
Yes, please.
Yep,
Yeah.
I'll send it to you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's great information, for sure. And yeah, like I said, yeah, that's right, bell.net, right?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're gonna feel awesome when you get your systems in place. You just gain more confidence. As soon as I started putting stuff together, like, this is my listing presentation, this is great, I'm good.
You don't miss out on anything.
No, and
Organized.
you can constantly be working on it. Pick up the listing price again and go, no, you know what, I'm gonna tweak that. And you keep tweaking over the whole time. You don't have to perfect it in the first sitting. Stuff you're working on, your own time with a coffee, go, yeah, I'm gonna throw in a testimonial, just keep adding, seeing other people's stuff and then add to it. You know, but great time to prepare for all of that. Yeah, next year you're gonna hit it out of the park. If you start lead gen early in the year, no matter how cold it is and how dead it is, or whatever you do, things will happen by spring and it comes fast. That's what I find. Before you know it, it's March. You have to prep for a listing and there's tons to do for a listing. You know, there's a lot to do. Don't minimize it. A lot you should do. Some people get into, well, it depends. Staging, of course, is a big thing right now. You know, to stage your listing. For me, it depends on what commission I'm being paid. Sometimes I think Trish lets them pay for the stage. She adds a percentage and then they pay, something like that.
Kevin is a certified stager now,
Oh, okay,
so
so
we
Kevin's
do everything
certified.
in-house.
Great, right. So you guys are doing that now.
Yeah, but we never discount our
Your commission.
commission either.
Yeah,
And we
that's right.
charge more than the average.
Yeah, right. So that's great, exactly. There's a great example, you know. Yeah, but these are things you need to know. Are you going to stage? What's that going to cost? There are great staging companies out there, from inexpensive to expensive. Are you going to include that for your clients? Because they're going to ask you, what are you going to do for me? You know, the place, most homes need a touch-up, a fix-up, some type of stage. It's going to need something.
A declutter.
Declutter, yeah.
Do you pay for storage for
No.
clients if you want them to, let's say, you want them to take out half of their belongings? Do you pay for that storage?
No.
You put that on, will you coordinate it and find the storage for them?
Yeah, I'll help them find it. I'll tell them about places that they could find. And
Yeah.
for
But the
sure.
storage cost is on them, because you never know, like,
Yeah, usually, yeah. And you
or would
want
you
to
say, I'll pay for 1 month
Yeah,
type thing?
you could. It's up to you how you want to do it. I find, of course, a
Put
client's
that
gonna,
off on them.
a client, you know, the clients want to, they want you to pay for everything. They think
Sure.
you make like millions, right?
Yeah.
And that, you guys should pay you to hardly do your work. A lot of people think that, not
Yeah,
all,
they do.
not all, but you agents. It gets expensive, so no, I won't. I don't pay for it. Sure, am I helpful? Yeah, I'll find out loft storage spaces, what costs what, put it here, put it there. Certain things I will pay for, certain things I won't. Yeah, like say this property that I have listed, I paid for the painter to paint the whole porch in the front of the house, my expense. Why I did that? I've had 3 deals with these people. So they've sold condo with me, they've purchased with me, and now they're selling this house and I'm gonna have another sale. I reduced my commission slightly, and I said, I'll get the whole front porch painted. Other than that, staging, everything else is on your own,
You're talking like 0.5%,
0.5%.
that's the norm.
0.5. Yeah. Again, it's gonna be up to you what you wanna negotiate. Don't go crazy on that, I say, you know. Don't be scared about this 1% and
What do you always-
dot-coms.
What do you always offer?
Sorry?
What do you always offer? What's your basic? You pre-inspection?
Oh, yeah, well, 5% is my minimum.
No, not the percentage what you charge, but what do you,
Okay, pre-inspection, floor plans, for sure, digital floor plans, virtual tour, social media advertising. City Blast does something on me with Facebook, Twitter account, so social media accounts, and pretty much that's it. Depending on what else is going on with the property, like this, maybe I lower my commission and pay for the painting of the front of the porch. I didn't pay for anything else. I did do the floor plans and the home inspection and all that. I still did that. But like I said, I added the porch and a little lower on the commission because I've had 3 ends of these guys. You do have to give a little. And you'll figure that out on your own. But and it's okay to negotiate a little bit. Sure. Find the money, borrow it from someone. if you don't have it up front, it'll pay off in the end. People know when you're honest and you're really working for them and coming from a place of contribution, like you said, and really from the heart. Do your job and just be there for them. When they call, answer their call.
And have you found that most clients or sellers are willing to declutter?
Yes.
And,
I do.
Yeah.
I really do. I think every seller I've worked with has gotten excited about their property. And I give them a list too, of things to do.
And
Do a walkthrough on the house and they're like, okay, well, what should we do? Take off all the family photos off of that wall, yeah. Move that up, we don't, get rid of that little,
Do you have a system in place for that too?
well, it's not really a system, it's my own walkthrough kind of thing. I may have something, if I do, I'll send it also. But it's your own judgment of, you know, what you need to do in that property. Every property is different.
Right.
It's gonna need something. Very rare do I see something that's like, oh my God, gorgeous, just move in. It does happen, but go through with them. They're gonna think you're the professional, that you know it, which you are. You know how to declutter, you know what's gonna sell. Okay, that sofa needs to go, we may need to find a place. Put that in storage, we need a new sofa maybe, and a painting on this wall. There's lots of options for furniture too. There's furniture rental companies, Rent Wow, I don't know if you've heard of them. I've worked with them a few times on staging. They're called Rent Wow. They're awesome. Yeah, they're at, where are they? Don Mills and Eglinton. Yeah. Big company. But you can go online and you just pick, sofas. And you look at the phone.
There's one on, Les Mill, near,
Close to Les Mill. This one is close to Les Mill.
there's one on Les Mill, what's it called?
Not Rent Wow?
No, it's,
Oh, okay.
it's, you'll come to me.
No company?
Yeah,
A rental company.
it's a furniture rental,
Yeah.
staging.
It's great. They're great. Now, back in the day, we didn't have this. So you can go on and say, hey, I just need a coffee table, you know, because they have nothing, and it's gonna make the place show beautifully.
And they deliver?
You can pick it up, or they deliver. Obviously, you pay a little bit more. I've thrown shit in my car.
Sure.
Just go up there and pick it up. You can see the pieces online,
It's
exactly what it
so-
costs. It's like 30-day rental or 60-day rental, you know, a coffee table costs you whatever, $30, $40 for a month.
Perfect.
Sofas, of course,
Yeah.
else, gorgeous little condo sofas, you know, with the chaise lounge, just maybe more,
Yeah.
$100.
Yeah.
But there you go, you know, you could get the furniture there to fill that spot and make it look beautiful.
So if you have a vacant property, you would, and you don't want to pay for all the
Yeah.
staging, what would you do?
Depends, sometimes I leave it vacant.
Do you leave it vacant?
Just
or-
really clean, get cleaners in there, make it look super clean.
But it's
One-
vacant, but it's not renovated, it's not updated.
Vacant, not updated, like a rental job type of house?
Like, yeah.
Tear down?
No, not a tear down. Better than a tear down.
Better than a tear down.
Kitchens and baths need updating.
Yeah. I would have to see the property, I make my own judgment call on it, because you don't want to overspend. If you don't have to spend money on that, don't.
Yeah.
But have I done maybe an area rug and one chair and a plant beside it? Just to give you a little like, oh, because some people I find don't have a sense of imagination either. I mean, I worked with buyers and I'm like, this would be gorgeous, you can put your TV there, and they're like, yeah, they just can't figure out, really? You see it there? I see it there. I can see the other one. Right? So yeah, have I done just a carpet of, even the minimal, something may just give it a little dimension as opposed to a bare empty room. I do find that empty, something in the room looks better than empty. That's for sure.
So I can get all that on rent wow?
Yeah,
Yeah.
lots of information, and they're super friendly people, and everything. There's accessories, plants, pictures, you name it, they have it. I went to their, first time I went there, I was blown away. Oh my God, it's a big business. Yeah. So, yeah, so there's that too, because it's important today, everyone's staging, right?
It's called Lux.
Lux, yes, that's right, Lux.
LUX?
LUX, 238 West Mill Road.
Lux,
Luxury.
right. And that's a whole other market, a whole other course, luxury. But LUX, yeah, I just did a course on pricing luxury homes actually at Treb. That was interesting. Yeah, because it's so different. You can't find comps. You're going up to Bridle Path where a home is worth 10, 15, 17, 20 million, 30 million.
Your commission is not usually the same in a luxury home too, is it? It's
No, it's the same.
Really?
2.5 or 5 listed. Same.
Huh.
Yeah.
So how you pricing?
Why would it be different?
I don't know, I just thought it was, there's like an expectation that it's lower because the value of that property is so much higher that
They're still rich.
you're not, I know, hey, I'm not speeding it.
Just gotta go.
I just had kind of heard that it was, you know,
No?
it's the norm that you would maybe do it for 4.
My impression is it'd be the opposite. When you're dealing with people who perceive your services differently, like when you're going for like the bottom fare, like the cheapest listings, those are the people who are worried about reducing their expenses as much as possible. But people higher
It can be.
focus on like,
Yeah, I found, I've sold larger luxury homes also, and I do find they're more relaxed. They're not, you know, worried about what you're doing, how you're marketing it. They're actually in Hawaii somewhere usually or something,
They're
right?
less wound.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Well, they
So
probably
they're-
bought more than one house before too,
Yeah, exactly.
right? To
And
get
they're-
that house, they've had to have bought and sold.
That's right. And let's face it, they're a little more, you know, they have money, liquid cash, they can afford to not be concerned.
Yeah.
Whereas the person selling the $700,000 house, it's their life savings and
The
it's
only
the
thing they've
mortgage,
got.
and there's a third mortgage on it, and oh my God, what am I making? Yeah, it's valid,
Yeah.
right? So they're gonna be more stringent on what you get, but luxury homes, no, it's the same percentage.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay. well,
yeah. And then
Good to know.
with that, that's a whole nother ballgame, you need to take the course on that.
So how did you price those luxury homes? Just from,
Well, what I find with luxury homes is it's based a lot on emotion, okay? It's emotion. And if someone, first of all, okay, it's the square footage of the property, you know, and how many rooms and all of that. But you're getting into all kinds of details that people love. You know, the jacuzzi pool, the indoor-outdoor saltwater pool, the coffered ceilings, and the baseboards are 20 inches high, and, you know, sliding doors from Portugal. And all of these things are important because they're very expensive ticket items, and it matters. So a lot of times it was based on a lot of the features of the property,
right,
and the square footage mostly, and the land. Square footage, land, property size, the whole land. And that. At the end of the day, you have to come up with a round figure. Talk about being more difficult than this, it is. And between you and your seller, you come up with a really a high price that you think is worth, the property is worth. Usually they sit a lot longer on the market,
right.
and that's just the way it is. It may stay on there for 8, 9, 10 months. Doesn't mean that you need to lower your listing price. The right buyer comes along. Someone moving from the States, who knows, on a rock band, you know, lead singer, who knows? It's, it's more of an emotional sale at that point.
You find out that those people, they bark on the commission, we do the presentation.
Sorry,
Do the presentation, do you find out that those people will bark on the commission?
Oh, the sellers of houses like that? I haven't sold too many, and the ones that I have did bring up the commission. One that I remember brought up the commission argument, and I just disputed it. Just saying, you know, this is what I'm going to do for you. You just go back to, this is how we have to list it. What if it stays on longer? Come up with a different point. This might be on the market for a year. You'd like me to be here for all your showings, correct? I mean, a lot of times you have to do that too as an agent. So when you take the books, you show up at the house and walk them through it. You know, it's more time consuming. So you bring up your value more. Sell it on your value, and they usually see it. At the end of the day, I found they don't really care.
The showings for those houses is not like you just give the code and anybody can go, right?
A lot of times not. A lot of times not. Most of the time, it's exclusive. They want the agent there. They want the agent on the property. I can see why. You know, if I had a $15 million home, I would want some flimsy lockbox or just turn off the light. Plus, they want the agent to work too. It's a lot of that. There's a lot of that. Like, you know, they want to see the agent doing their job.
Suddenly.
Yeah, you will talk to the people, and they do want feedback for sure. They want to know, okay, what did that client think that saw it today? You know, so they need to know that you met them. Are they qualified? Can they afford a $15,000 house? Stuff like that. So you need to be very personal.
And how did you approach the staging, or it didn't need staging, it just used their stuff as is and?
Didn't need the ones that I have, mind you,
Yeah.
that I sold.
How much
which was
was?
over in Etobicoke.
How
Yeah,
much? How much?
5
5 million?
million over, Rathburn, Kipling area. That obviously it goes higher than that, but, I have seen homes, I've gone into, I had to compare properties then, and that were, no staging was done. It did look very empty, didn't like it, where it's a high-end home, but the agent didn't stage it.
Right.
It wasn't very appealing. Mind you, to stage a property, anything with, 3, 4, 5,000 square feet is gonna be costly. But you gotta compare it right out to the commission that you may make, right? The staging will go a long way for a home like that, maybe a builder's home. Yeah, builders love that, it's worth staging, definitely worth staging. Yeah. Anything else?
Can I ask you a question about the bridge loan? So if I'm representing the seller and he asked me what's better, buying first or selling my house first, because the mortgage is going to be transferred to the new property, should I list the house first before you buy?
It's always a tricky question. It has to do with the market, I think, too, how the market is right now. I personally would have my sellers buy first, especially if they're picky. Not so much, I guess not really relating to the bridge loan, but I want them to find what they're looking for first before, I feel almost like a little bit of a guarantee that I can sell their house. Okay, if we can get to the right price on the property they need to sell, I'm not worried about that, I can sell that. Finding what they love is going to be a little trickier. There's a lot of product out there, there's a lot of variety, different homes. Buyers are fussy, I know.
Manages their anxiety about selling too.
Correct. There's that anxiety with, yeah.
It's very stressful.
Of course, you're definitely going to feel better knowing, oh great, I got that house, and you have a
And because the
closing
market
date.
is changing, like I can give you a price now, but I'm not guaranteeing that the same price is gonna be down the road in 3 months, right? So if you take longer to list the house, then price might change, either to higher or lower. In this case,
Yeah.
I think lower,
Yeah,
according to what I've been seeing in the neighborhood.
yeah,
And then they're getting nervous that they're not gonna get enough money
yeah,
to fund the other mortgage, right?
right.
And once I buy the other house, and I never have gone through that process, usually I just sell and that's it.
Right.
Or buy only and that's it. But this time was a little bit tricky and I was confused and I was like, I don't know what to say. But they were nervous about the moving day. Like, okay, I'm gonna deliver my house, let's say on November 30th. I want to be able to have a place where to bring all my stuff. Or what about what I want to buy? They want to do a longer closing. Where am I going to go with my stuff? So should I buy first or should I sell first?
For me, I find, again, I have to go back to, I want to give my clients a peace of mind. Say they're the seller. I would say, and they're buying. I would rather them purchase now, even if the price, it would be great to take a listing and you think, hey, the market's hot right now, it's a fall market. I would rather them, and they're going to have more peace of mind, as you said, and so will I, knowing that, okay, if the market did change in January, we have to price it at what the market will give at that point. But we have found you the home that you love.
And they've got that emotional attachment now to that unit.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
now they're even more inclined to
Correct.
listen to
Good
your
point.
guidance.
To give you the right, to follow your lead on pricing. The bridge, in directly related to bridge financing, I let the purchaser maybe think about that. And that's going to come in, closing date will come in as a negotiating point. So price is negotiable, so is the closing date. Say my purchasers now, they've purchased a property. I have a closing date of December 17th, okay, for them. So now their property is up for sale. A purchaser coming in to buy their property, they see our closing date on the listing already, December 17th. So they know, hey, your client's always here purchase. Usually when you see a date, you know they've purchased, right? So it doesn't say just 60, 30 days to be announced. I want that purchaser to work with my date. And usually I've never had a problem. It coincides either perfectly on that date where that purchaser will give me that date, or if they can't assume that date, or assume it, and you have to now bridge. So the one purchasing, the one buying the property, let them accommodate for the 2 weeks that they wanted extra at the end of the month. They wanted December 30th, let's say, as opposed to December 16th. Let it be their problem to figure out how are you gonna work out your dates. Buy it on the 17th then, okay? And you have a property sitting there for a week and a half. You can move your stuff in and take care of if you're renting, take care of what it needs, or go to your bank and say, look, they have to have December 17th. How's it gonna work out?
So
if it's
for me
close?
to take the condition of the mortgage on the new purchase for my seller, right, that he's buying a house, to waive that condition for the financing, does the mortgage gonna ask me, is that house sold, is on the market, or what will be the situation? Because otherwise they're gonna have mortgage in two properties, the one they're selling and the one they're buying.
Speak to the banks about that. The banks will accommodate that, knowing that your house, if they see an MLS listing, that property's up for sale. Here's the one you purchased, that's sold. It's not conditional upon sale of property. We don't use that. I haven't seen that in ages. But the banks will accommodate for the time in between, the time lapse. Okay, they will know that if they see that MLS listing, for one thing, of the purchaser, they will allow them to bridge that time until that property is sold.
I talked to one bank and he said something, I didn't understand the process, this is the
Right.
first time. So he said something about like, you have 90 days to do the closing.
Mhm.
Like if you can move and then they'll give you 90 days to sell the property.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like deliver the property and get the money, but you need to have the property sold, like for him to
A firm deal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
firm deal for them to give you the mortgage for the new house.
Yeah.
You need to have the
Yeah.
property sold. And I wasn't so, I couldn't understand that. So,
Yeah.
so that means I need to put the house for sale first.
Yeah. Well, not really, not necessarily. The banks, it depends on the bank, on the lending institution also. You do need a firm deal, but they can always, I find that they will accommodate for that time in between where they'll bridge. They will bridge in there. It's never usually, I mean, you'll put the property up for sale as soon as they purchase, right? That's usually when, so.
And
if
then you
you're-
have 7 days to wait the condition for a mortgage. I'm not gonna have it sold, the
Yeah.
other house in 7 days.
Right, or if you have a condition on a mortgage, it'll get a little tricky.
It has to
It'll
be
get a little
condition on the
tricky.
mortgage because
Yeah.
they're getting the money from the
Yeah.
house that they're selling.
Right. Yeah.
Right, the equity plus whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's kind of like,
yeah.
how I do this, how
Yeah.
do I do it?
I don't know, for me, I would ask some advice from their personal lawyer too, what they suggest, and the different banking institutions does things differently, but for me, all I can say is that I would rather than purchase first before I sell their property, and let the person buying their house figure out in bridge how they're gonna work it out. A lot of times people will accommodate somehow. Somehow they'll accommodate to get your date. And like I
Do you
said,
remember the lady said, don't book the same day when you're selling the house and buying the house
Yeah,
for the elevator? Because the people are moving out and you're moving in.
yeah.
oh, like in a condo
Yeah, try to,
shop.
on a camp, on a
Yeah.
course, try to stagger it.
Yeah, for
Or,
sure.
and also be aware that you may not get the keys until 6 PM.
Right.
So you
Condos are a little
move the
different.
same day.
Thank you. Condos are a little,
It's a little complicated,
It
right?
can
Yes.
be complicated,
It
yeah.
can be. I haven't found a problem with it yet, and the keys come. Sometimes people, someone's moving in the afternoon, someone's moving in the evening. Or a lot of times people delay. It's today, tomorrow. As long as they get the keys in the afternoon, they'll figure it out at that point. People are excited, they make it work. How long does it take to really get everything into the house? They don't have to furnish the house and make it look beautiful. We'll get everything off the truck, get it in. That's what it's about, really. So I haven't had a problem with coordinating dates. Typically. But I would ask, Laura's are easy to chat to about that too. Ask them what you think. They're a lawyer, because everyone's different.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks, thank you all. I'll let you all go, I know.
It's easier to buy first.
There's traffic.
Yeah, there's that,
Yeah.
for sure.
So we
Yeah.